time it is. Marvin Devine, Hoover, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, XL, and Hoover, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah.
What's going on? Welcome to World Kidney News. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining us this evening. We come together this evening for celebrating the life and mourning of Sorrell George, aka Cy Speak. Today, we have past hosts, future hosts, and other hosts that are here with me tonight to remember Cy Speak, who actually interviewed with Cy Speak. And before we bring our guest on, I would like to share my first meeting Sorrell in Covington, Georgia for the first time in person. The Alliance, I'm here in Covington, Georgia, about to meet our host, Sorrell George. You just saw her pull in the parking lot. I'm so freaking excited, yo. I can't tell you, I've never been so excited to meet a host that I never met on our broadcast. So let me turn the camera around so you can see how she's coming in the door. There she goes, Sorrell George, host of Sisters Against Kidney Disease. Look at her. What's going on, Sorrell? How you doing? Yeah, same here. Look at her. Let me turn the camera. What's going on, y'all? I'm here with Sorrell George, host of Sisters Against Kidney Disease, right here in Covington, Georgia.
The big city.
Yeah. What's going on? It's so good to see you.
Too.
Yeah, thank you for coming out. You want to sit over here at the table? Huh? What happened? Oh, yeah. Right. We sit over here. Let me bring my stuff over here. What's up, Jeff? Thanks for tuning in, bro. Vincent, going to move my stuff over to the other table, and we're going to do a small show. So I'm going to cut this down. Huh? Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're going to stop this one. I'm going to start another broadcast. So be on the lookout for Be Live broadcast in like 3 minutes. All right? So that was my first meeting with her in person, and it was a beautiful meeting. So let me bring on my guest. First, I'm going to bring on host of the Warriors Quest. You all know him, Jared A. Brown, and everybody gets the VIP treatment tonight. So let me bring on Jared A. Brown first. What's going on, Jared?
Hey.
How's it going?
You know, it's going okay. Much like a lot of us here in the kidney disease community, I've had some time to self-reflect and think of some fond memories and think of some things that are trying to keep my spirits up because of just watching this video you just showed me here, and and just thinking how how a warrior has gone way too soon, and it's just it's devastating. It really is. It's devastating.
And so, Jared, before I bring on the other guest, I would just like
Tuesday,
to share this.
We are watching another episode of Sisters Against Kidney Disease with myself, Sorrel. And this evening, my guest is someone who has stood in the trenches with me and for me. And I just thought it was only fitting that you all got to see one half of the genius behind the Kidney for Sorrel page. His name is Jared A. Brown, and he is a husband, he is a father, but he's such an advocate for all kidney disease warriors. He took something that was impacting his sister-in-law, and he saw what she went through, and he turned it into a mission to be a blessing and to help other people. So I wanted you all to meet Jared A. Brown. He has a twin brothers, two of them, Jared and Jeffrey. But this evening we have Jared A. Brown. He is the host of Warriors Quest, and he gives kidney warriors the opportunity to share their story and to appeal to you all to potentially become a living donor. Jared, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Terrific Tuesday.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Tuesday. You're awesome.
Wait a minute, let me remove that. What does that mean to you to see that conversation now?
Oh man, I remember the day that we did this interview together, and I remember her words, and it meant so much to me for her to say what she said about me, and because I had so much respect for her, and for her to say those things about me meant so much. It meant a lot to me. It still does now, and to gain her respect for what I do, it meant the world to me, and it made me feel really good that that she noticed me, and that she thought I was doing good work.
Wow. So let's bring on our other guest. I'm going to bring on Stephanie Mo Davis, who been very instrumental with Urban Health Outreach Media in the beginning, and then she moved on because she was growing to bigger and better things, and it's a blessing to have her on. But before I have her on, let's take a look at this show that Stephanie Mo Davis did with Sorrell.
Okay.
Let's take a little clip.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday night's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Tonight, I am privileged, honored, and excited to share my guest, Sorrell George. If you don't know Sorrell already, you should. She hosts her own podcast on Urban Health Outreach Media called Sisters Against Kidney Disease. So this evening, I have the pleasure to interview Sorrell. We're going to talk about Sorrell's life a little bit, and I will be blatantly honest with you. We have had no prior conversation about any questions we're going to discuss tonight. So welcome to our improvisational interview, and I want to welcome right now Sorrell George to the show. Hi, Sorrell.
Hi, Stephanie.
It's so good to see you.
It's great to see you. Thank you for having me on.
It's my privilege. We've been going back and forth a little bit, and there's been some, delay, mainly on my part. So I'm really, really excited to speak with you tonight and to see you. And I did tell the audience, we don't even know what we're going to talk about.
This what makes it so wonderful. Let's do it.
It does. And actually, anybody out there who may be tuning in, don't get worried and think that this may be a, boring show, because I thrive being improvisational. So I'm really excited, and I love interviewing. So I'm really excited to get to know you, primarily because I've been connecting with you. You interviewed me when I first came on the channel, but I really don't know that much about you. So for me, I've been speaking to you, connecting with you, but I am thrilled to actually get to know a little bit more about the personal life of Sorrell George.
Well, thank you for.
So with that being said, Jared, let's bring on no other than Stephanie Mo Davis, former host of Change Your Life, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life at Urban Health Outreach Media. Let me give her the VIP intro. Hey, Stephanie Mo Davis, what's going on?
Hi, Steve. Hi, Jared. It's
Hi,
an absolute privilege to be back with you guys on a much tragic and sad occasion. When I heard this news, I know, Steve, you and I had connected. It'd been quite a while. And when we connected on the phone just several days ago, it wasn't like a moment had passed between us. And I felt my heart just explode open. I've been away from the show, but I have not been away from the community.
That's
and
right.
Nothing that I'm doing is bigger and better than what you guys are doing on this show. I'm just attacking it from a slightly different angle. And when I heard this news, like everyone, I was devastated. I was sad. I was confused, because the time I had with Sorrell, I admired her. I looked up to her. She was very much of a hero to me. She had such grace and poise and strength being a dialysis and CKD patient that I didn't even question something like this could happen. And it really humbled me to remember who's in charge and to remember that God knows where an individual can do their best work. And I just want to say that I am so privileged to be here with you, remembering the life of Cy. And while we all still try to wrap our heads around exactly why this happened, even though we know why and we understand that these things happen, Sorrell to me was a goddess. And she was someone that seemed so indestructible. And her part that she played in the community as a patient and as an advocate was unbelievable. And all I can say from where I sit today is trying to wrap my head around this and to see how she lived her life and how she helped others during her time of need just encourages me to never, ever give up, for this community in the things that I'm trying to do, the things we're trying to do, and to realize that we all need each other now more than ever in this time of great polarization and divide in the world.
Right.
What CKD patients understand is that life is fragile. Life is fleeting. And we don't have time to argue over things that are not important. We must forgive, we must release our anger, and we must support and love the people who need that. We need it. Our community needs it. And actually, we all need it. So the passing of Sorrel to me not only breaks my heart, but it breaks my heart open to just keep persevering and enduring to make things better for our community, however we possibly can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just wanted to say, a lot of people don't know, and I'm still appreciative of you, Stephanie Mo Davis, for coming down and, you know, coaching me and pushing me through during my darkest moments in my life. And that was with that eye, you know, that situation I had going on with my eye, my vision. And you came down and stayed with me a day or so to make sure that I was right. And I would never forget that. And, you know, I owe, you know, a lot to you, you know, for you pushing me through that. So thank you so much. I wanted to tell you that publicly on live, you know, how appreciative I was of that situation.
Steve, it was a pleasure to be with you. You were a pivotal and are a pivotal person along my journey. When we met and connected on this show, I never felt so alive to be helping the community. And I want to thank you for holding that space, and Jared for being a constant active member on the show, and for everybody who's on the show. It was such a pivotal time in my life to see how people create the need, even though at that time we didn't have a lot of resources or support from people who maybe, you know, financially or whatever it may be. We were all kind of scrapping to do this on our own. People like that who can endure the struggle to do what's right are blessed by God. And I know it's not always easy, but when I knew that you were struggling, I knew that I just had to come be with you. And it was a pleasure for me. And I learned a lot being with you in that time and space as well. And even though our journeys have taken a slight shift, again, the work for me is never done. And remembering Sai at this time, again, a woman who just, a beacon of grace and strength and perseverance and beauty, just makes me feel like my duty is even more clear. My duty is more clear. This life is not about me. This life is about what I'm here to do under God. And every day is a privilege. As somebody that's had the pleasure and privilege to receive 2 transplants. And I was praying like crazy. I wanted Sai to get that transplant. And I'll tell you, people who have transplants have a lot of feelings, and guilt is one of them. And if I could have given one of my transplants for her to have one, I would have done it in a heartbeat. So what I just want to say is that my duty is clear in honoring her life and her legacy, to never give up, no matter how hard it is, no matter when people don't understand what you're doing, or you're trying to fight against the grain and get more recognition for the community. It's an uphill battle for a lot of us. Unfortunately, all the resources and all of our needs can't be met with the CKD community. So we have to individually work. And I just want to say to both of you men, I really honor you. I value you. And I'm just so appreciative, as I know Sai was as well, to have this community, because nobody understands it like somebody who's lived it or lived with somebody who's lived it. There's just an understanding within the eye, within a glance of an eye. I know you. I know what you feel. And I'm here. It's almost like no words even need to be spoken. So just thank you again for letting me be here to honor Sai's life and to continue to help me to be the best I can for our community day in and day out. So thank you.
Absolutely. Now I want to bring on our last guest, who Sai, I believe, maybe was her third or fourth show, and I apologize because I don't have the tape, but she talked about the video. She watched it before, so she can give us shed light. But this next guest, I had the privilege of meeting her because I seen her video with Lifelink out of Florida. Her husband needed a heart transplant, and he was also a kidney warrior. And Nashonda went on to do many things. Her husband, Leonard Wayne Larimore, I hope I said the name correctly, was an ex-NFL player. He was a generous soul, and he did a lot for the community. And his wife, Nashonda Larimore, never dealt with this before, but when she went through this, she got a vision that she needed to start advocating for organ donation. I saw her video. I reached out. She was humble enough to reach back to me. We did a show. Then Sorrell, we met you and Sorrell, Stephanie. And then next thing I know, Nashonda was on her show. So without further, she even have her own show now called Transplant Talk with Nashonda. So without further ado, let me bring them on all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, Nashonda Larimore. Hey, Nashonda, how you doing?
Hey,
how's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys?
All right, it's finally good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
so
you know, unfortunately, under the circumstances. Now, you did a show Thursday night, and when you opened up your show, Transplant Talk with Nashonda, you talked about Sorrell. What do you remember about Sorrell and being on her show, her interviewing? What stands out the most?
Well, Steve, when she interviewed me, first of all, she contacted me February 3rd, 2019, and she said how she had watched the show and she would love for me to come and speak on her show. And I said, absolutely no problem, because I wanted to be able to just contribute to this world of organ donation. And so immediately, if anybody ever asks me to come and speak, I feel that it's only my duty to be able to come in and speak. What I remember about her is that she paid me so many compliments. She was so passionate about what she was doing and her journey. And I really looked at her in awe by looking at her strength. And, you know, to see someone so dedicated and so devoted to this journey, it was heartfelt. Like I really felt like, wow, if I was in her shoes, would I be so, first of all, she was very candid, but will I be as strong as her? Will I have the same strength as her? And I just remember her just complimenting me so much and telling me how strong she thought I was. And, you know, being able to come on her show meant a lot to her. And I think a lot of people, and Steve included, when, you know, people ask me to come and be on the show, maybe they think I would say no. And maybe I'm a little standoffish, but I'm absolutely not. I feel as if my life is not my own. And my tragedy can turn into triumph. And I know that my test had to be a testimony for somebody else. So I always welcome the opportunity to go on anyone's show and talk and just be that beacon of light that, you know, that some people need, because some people need to see, hey, what does it look like to get to the other side? And it looks like me. And I'm just so grateful. We spoke about some things about my husband passing away and how all the kidney warriors, you know, unfortunately, fortunately, go and be with the Lord. And when I heard that, and then I think about her, because she didn't get the transplant, just like my husband didn't get the transplant, it touched my heart. And I was literally writing it down. And, you know, Jared said it when we were backstage. And I said, yes, that was so special to talk about. I started this journey because I didn't want anyone else to have to endure what I and my family went through, because Leonard Wayne Larimore, yes, Steve, you said it correctly, did not make it. So to see her not make it, it was definitely sad. I just couldn't believe it. But as I said on her show, my husband and I had a good balance of if he makes it or if he doesn't make it. So we decided to tell each other, if I live and I'm here with you, I'm in a win-win. If I pass away and go be with the Lord, I'm in a win-win. So for me, that speaks volumes. I know she was in a win-win situation. We just recently had a chat last month on February 13th and Valentine's Day when I did my virtual town hall meeting. Unfortunately, she had just had a procedure herself and it had flared up, so she couldn't be on the show. But I wanted to return the favor. I was on hers, she was on mine, and you know, that's how that went.
Right. I want to play a video. One of our guests, Stephanie Stevens, couldn't make it tonight, but I want to play a video that this was Sai's first interview, and that was with this lady here whose mom was a kidney warrior that passed away, that I'm fortunate enough to meet
we are Sisters Against Kidney Disease, and we are
on Facebook and call her Sister in Christ, Stephanie Stevens.
Thank them for this opportunity.
This was Sai's first show.
We are Sisters Against Kidney Disease, and we are partnering with Urban Health Outreach Media. And tonight we have an amazing guest. I'm so honored to show the world that
I know the volume is a little low.
A community, and it takes the love and support of wonderful people like our very own Stephanie Stevens. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, my friend. You look great. Nice to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. A little chilly here in the Fredericksburg area.
Well, I would like to say we're twins because it's a little cold here in Georgia as well. So,
love it.
All right. Now,
glad to be here with you.
And first, let me say thank you so much for agreeing to do this, because I realize that, you know, your time is so valuable. And as a caregiver, when you do have those down moments, sometimes you need that time just, you know, just to be Stephanie. But if you don't mind, if you would so graciously give us just a brief bio. Who is Stephanie?
She's a 54-year-old woman that lives in Fredericksburg, Texas, with an amazing husband, David. And I have a daughter that's a senior in college in Dallas, Texas, and a stepson that's at Baylor University, and a stepdaughter that's in high school in Waco. And just loving on my mom and dad at this point, at this stage in their lives. And
yeah, that was an epic one. Stephanie Mo Davis, when you had the interview, wait a minute. Yeah, Jared, let's run a little bit with Nashonda's interview with Sai. But Stephanie, while we get that together, when we showed your interview with Sai, you had on your board in the back her information. What was that about? You had the transplant, you had Sai Speak. Why did you have that printed on your dry eraser board?
I had that printed up there in order to try to help her find a donor. So I know this was something that was going on, and it was important for her, and it was important for people to understand where they could reach out to help Sai. So it was very important for me to advocate for Sai to try to get that transplant, as we all know that it's difficult to get a transplant, and we all need to be able to use our voice and our platforms to be able to help people with, getting the word out to whomever could possibly be a donor.
So Jared, you got that footage?
Yeah, I'm going to share it right now. All right, bear with me just a second. It's not playing. Hold on.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I got it. Hold on. All right, it's like frozen. It's like stuck.
Okay, I got one we can play. This was Sai Speak when, wait a minute, here we go. It's a 3-minute tape where she came back on.
Hey, I just wanted to jump back on because apparently at the end of my interview with Milagro, my sound went out, and you all weren't able to hear what I was saying. And I just was saying at that particular time at the end of the interview that for 2019, I just feel like this is going to be such an amazing year for us as people, as warriors, as men and women. I'm just excited and I'm encouraged about this year. So I wanted to share that back with you all, that even though we may be on this kidney disease journey as a warrior or a caregiver or as a sympathizer, that's not the end of our story. This is just a page in this enormous book we call life, and I believe that it's going to be phenomenal. And, the good thing about this journey and this thing we call life, every day we can reset. Every day we get an opportunity to choose how we're going to live this day. And I'm hoping that each and every one of you would choose to live this day and every day to the fullest, and to be intentional about how you live, about what you say, what you do, and just make the most of it. Be happy, be encouraged. And if you are a fellow warrior, I know that there are days when this disease can just make it feel like life is just not worth living, right? That some days you're exhausted and you're tired and you're frustrated and you're confused and all the other emotions that come along with being a kidney disease warrior. But as your fellow warrior, I just want to encourage you that you are more than kidney disease, right? That we have so many good things ahead of us. And 2019
or any other chronic illness,
make it your sole mission to live your best life. It is not just a song, right? Because people are singing that song, but let that be your mantra. Let that be what you stand on day by day. Choose to be in excellence. Choose to see this as a stepping stone. Don't let kidney disease to define your life nor rob you of your life. You are so much more than this. You are still amazing. You are still wonderful. And even on those days where you may not feel so great, it's okay if you need to take that day and just kind of relax. I didn't say give up. I didn't say throw in the towel. I said relax. Because guess what? You are an overcomer. And I just believe that this is just the beginning of something so phenomenal for us. And, remember what it was that brings you joy and makes you happy and makes you you. There's something so remarkable about each and every one of us. And on this journey, sometimes kidney disease can rob us of that zeal and zest and life if we allow it. So I'm just asking you all, don't do it. Take it moment by moment, second by second, whatever it takes for you to be the very best version of yourself on this year and the years to go. do it. So I want to say Happy New Year, 2019 and beyond. Be amazing, be awesome, because you already are. And there's no one greater than you. So be your best self. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. We need to see just how amazing and remarkable you are. So don't hide yourself and don't allow kidney disease to rob you of all the goodness that's in store for you. I love you all. Let's kick some butt on this journey. Happy New Year.
Amen.
Stephanie Mo Davis, I want to ask you a question. You've been in contact with Cy recently, and it's no secret that on her page, she expressed dissatisfaction with some healthcare providers. With that being said, as we watch that video of Cy advocate for other people, who advocates for Cy or advocates for people like myself, Jared, Nashonda, and you when, say, we're going through something? I mean, how do advocates get through this if we're advocating for other people, and then when something we may be going through where we can't advocate for ourselves, where do we turn to? Is that something where we have to, as one, dig deep inside to bring that out? Can you expand on that? Like, who advocates for us when we can't advocate for ourselves?
First off, that's an excellent question. And it's something that I would like everybody watching this show to deeply contemplate. You're right. We as kidney warriors are often forced to be our own advocates, but also advocates for others. So who helps us when we're not feeling so well? It's a great question. And the short answer is, number one, I would suggest that everybody develop their relationship with the Lord, because it saved me and helped me many times. But secondly, we as a community need to have friends. We need to connect with each other, not be afraid to reach out in moments of isolation, especially when someone is holding that beacon of light, such as Cy. Watching her speak in that last video that you played was very empowering, to see somebody who, you know, at times is in the trenches herself, but she continues to put other people sometimes before herself. People who have this level of dedication and ambition to be of service to others, we still need other people to look after us at times. It's unfortunate that the way the community is set up in the medical field, we often get the short end of the stick when it comes to advocacy and peer support, unless we're connecting with people online, which has been a godsend for so many people, is to have these support groups online. But what I would like to do, and part of my mission being here as a transplant warrior and having had CKD for over 20 years, is to advocate for more peer mentors, to be working alongside professionals in the Transplant Institute, in the nephrology offices, and the dialysis centers. The patients who've been through the process or have loved ones who've been through the process or who are fierce advocates, they should be gaining the respect and the connection of the people who are doing the diagnosis and running the treatment plans. So right now, as we speak, I'm working with a physician here in Houston who's phenomenal, and we created a nonprofit called Regenerating Healthcare. We've started right now something called Peer Mentorship University, where we'll be training peer mentors, advocates, and family members thereof, and people like you, Steve, who are in the field, to be able to implement your services in the healthcare field as a peer mentor specialist. Somebody who has the lived experience and the expertise to be working with the patients from the aspect of, I'm here, I got you, I'm your advocate. When you're too tired, I'll go to CVS and pick up your drugs. When you're too tired and you need support, I'll come into dialysis and I'll talk to you. Sorrel was doing that already on her own. You guys are already doing that on your own. If we can connect this type of work, not only here in the community, globally, online, but if we could actually connect us with the nephrologists, with the dialysis clinics, with the transplant institute. So there's this direct link. There's no separation. Patients don't have to seek so hard to find us. We're already implemented and respected and on staff as a peer mentor for patients. So that's something that I have to say is, you're right, Steve. Who takes care of us when we need support? When we're working so hard to take care of others? And very often what happens, our hearts are so big that as patients, we can put ourselves second and put patients before us. This has happened to me many times, and I'm sure it's happened to you all, is you care so much and the need is so great that you are willing to speak to anybody at any time of the day if they need help. So who helps us? I'll tell you who helps us. The professionals that have the resources that can get us in on staff to support us, so our needs can get met as peer mentors for other people. We have a structure in place, we're getting paid for our services, and we're there as that peer mentor specialist to care for the other peer mentors and the patients. So that's something that I'm very actively working on, but it is a very fine line because most of us have very big hearts. And we want to see everybody do as well as they possibly can. And again, I've been guilty of this many times. And I don't know, I won't say guilty, but putting others before myself because I care. And I know that at the end of the day, God does have my back. Just like Nishanda, you were saying, it's a win-win situation either way. But it does have to be a fine line of making sure that you are taking care of yourself as a patient and an advocate as well. We all know what it's like in the medical community right now with the high rate of burnout in physicians and clinicians and practitioners with the amplification of COVID and the loss of life. A lot of the medical team is actually burnout. And in fact, I believe this is a pre-existing condition exposed. I believe also that the medical professionals have been working very hard and have been burning out for a long time. And COVID just popped the lid off of something that already existed. And now it's time for us to create reform. If we want to keep our healthcare practitioners healthy and happy and looking after us very carefully and not missing things, we need to support them as well. And having a peer mentor on staff, I believe, would be the individual, would be the compassionate, empathetic bridge that's going to gap that space between the burnout of the practitioners and the care and the empathy that's needed in the patients. So that's one thing. It's tricky. It hasn't been really done on a global, national scale as of yet. There have been little people trying this, but I do believe having a peer mentor specialist on staff in these institutions and centers and offices would not only greatly help the patient to say, I know you, I've been there, but I think it's also going to vastly help the professionals as well.
Right. Jared, show that piece of video with Nishanda and Sai.
Okay. And now it's frozen again. It's really there. Here we go.
Out there and don't stay there. But I didn't want to always gloss over the fact that some of our fellow warriors did not win the battle on this side of the journey. Some have gone on angels. And what do we do when someone we love is facing kidney disease or any other chronic illness? But for this particular show, we talk about kidney disease. What do you do when your loved one doesn't make it on this journey, or you yourself, your labs are still showing a decline, a rapid decline in your kidney function, or you're not responding as well to treatment as you thought you would? What do you do in those situations? How do you remain optimistic? How do you keep hope alive when your body itself feels like it's betraying you? I know that there are particular warriors that I go to treatment with and it is a burden. It is a heaviness because they don't see that there's a way out. But my guest for this evening, Miss Larimore, she has lived through something so detrimental. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm just sharing that sometimes on this journey, the victory is won through a loved one becoming an angel. And how do you remain triumphant in the face of tragedy? And I saw your video, and there was such joy, and it was still such zeal and life. And I'm like, how do you remain light and just wonderful when you lose the love of your life? And from the story, y'all was on this journey for not a long time together.
No.
So, Miss Larimore, will you please tell us your story?
Well, that was so beautiful. And your introduction was so heartwarming. I'm listening to you like, oh, wow. And she sounds good. Who's she talking about? Man, this really has been a journey. My husband and I met in 2015, and we were finally married January 1st, 2017. As you said, he definitely was the love of my life. And to lose him, it still hurts. So I cannot, I'm not gonna lie, I can't sugarcoat it. It hurts, even as far as today, you get a little misty and like, man, I just really miss him. But what I do,
can you bring that out? I want to talk with Nashonda.
That is my joy. He is.
Nashonda, what goes through your mind when you see that interview?
I was actually counting the months that when I did that interview, and it was 10 months after my late husband passed away that I did that interview. And I'm like, you look the same, you look different. I'm just looking at me and seeing growth. I'm looking at me and just seeing the growth that I've reached.
See it too.
I've seen the growth. It is amazing, though that was a humble beginning. Who knew that, Transplant Talk with Nashonda, a name that Steve and I would just having a casual conversation. I always kind of reach out to Steve a little bit to say, Steve, let me run this by you real quick. And, it's great to be able to have that relationship with, people that's in the same circle. I look at that and, it's sometimes like when you see the storms or you think about going through the storm, and in that storm it's pouring. It is pouring and it is raining heavy. The lightning, the thunder, man, it just kind of makes you wonder, once you look back over your life and you say, boy, how did I make it? How did I make it? And I know how I made it because it's definitely only by the grace of God. I give nobody else the credit. It is God and prayers and people praying for me. And to do that interview, with her, it touches my heart because I remember those words and, I had to just sit up a little bit and say, she is talking about me. Talking about me. And I couldn't be more proud to be on this show right now in this moment, just to see, how far I've come, how far she went, how hard she pushed, to make sure that her message got out. And it, just an amazing, amazing young lady. And I will watch her and on her social media, and I'm saying this girl is still pushing. She is still pushing. Nothing is going to stop her.
Mhm.
And when you see a strong woman like that, that just gives you so much joy, because she and even I could have easily just gave up. She could have given up. And, being in this position, I know Stephanie had her, transplant, but to be the family member that's left behind of a, tragic situation like this, like her son, such a young soul that now has to go through the journey or go through his life without his mom. This is why I urge people, like, this is not a game. Organ donation is not a game. And more people need to become organ donors. And so for me, this is my mission. I know that this is my ministry. And with being an educator, I feel as if I go from teaching in the classroom to teaching in the community. And the more the better you should do. And maybe the better you would become. When you know better, you do better. And so now we've seen my husband pass away by not having a transplant. And now we see Cy passing away without having a transplant. So our faces are what people need to see. No one was able to give her what she needs. So when you look at us, it's like, wow, look at her son. I wish you had a picture of her son, because now he is also a part of this, this group of people that have passed away while waiting for a transplant. And I can't imagine. My mom just celebrated her birthday March 10th. I just spent it with her. They came here to Jacksonville. And so it was a happy occasion. I can't imagine being 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, and not have a mom. So I don't think people really take that into consideration in how important it is. Now, I pray for her son. I pray God gives strength. I pray God put those angels around him that he's going to need. I pray he gets a therapist like I had in order to go through this. And clearly God is going to have a special plan for that young man to do, into honoring his mother and her legacy, like I honor my late husband and his legacy. I hope and pray that he does.
Jared, as we get ready to close out, I'm just going to go around and ask each person what their most fond memory of Sorrell, and then we'll play our memorial video that Jared so nicely put together. So, Jared, what's your fond memory with Sorrell?
Well, the video that you showed earlier today is one of my fondest memories. Honestly, it is. It inspired me just because of her words, and she was just so articulate about how she appreciated me and what I was doing to help kidney disease patients, kidney warriors, and how I'm advocating. And it really meant a lot to me, and it's still one of my fondest memories of her. And I mean, just recently, I reached out to her on February the 26th, not long ago, and I had she replied by text message. I was inviting her to come back onto the Warriors Quest show, and I was trying to see if maybe I could interview her again to try to, advocate for her in another way. But she, as we all know, just hasn't been very well, and so she said she just wasn't well enough to do that. And so it's a text message I pinned, and I'm going to save because it's the last communication I've had from her. But I'll say this, and I'll let you guys say what you want to say, is that she is one of the most upbeat, positive, happiest people I've ever met, despite her journey, and I'll love her for that.
Okay, thank you, Jared. How about you, Stephanie?
I would like to say some of my fondest memories about Cy weren't necessarily live or on camera, but the conversations that we'd have off camera in private. And what you saw in public was Cy in private. And a lot of our conversations didn't have to do with either one of us, but they had to do with us continuing to advocate for the community. My fondest memory of her is somebody that puts others before herself. And I never heard her once complain or really even talk about the struggle that she had until the last conversation that I had, which was about getting better help from her team. And I immediately said to her, Cy, call me immediately, call my physician friend here immediately. What can we do? How can we help? And at that point, I knew it was serious, because it was the first and only time I ever saw her ask for help for herself, because she's just so selfless with the community. So my favorite memory of her is just a beacon of hope and light, and somebody that I constantly continue to try to emulate, because she just fearlessly put herself before, put others before her own needs, and just knew that the community needed so much help, and she was going to be the person to stand up for us. So that's my fondest memory of her, our conversations on the side that didn't even have anything to do about us or what we were struggling with, but that how can we continue to help others?
How about you, Nashonda?
Well, it would be the interview before the interview, where we actually have the opportunity to sit and talk to each other as women, especially African American women, being able to talk about the struggle, the fight. That definitely, I remember that, and you could always hear how passionate she was, in her speaking. And listen, people never let you know, like, especially for us, we don't look like what we've been through. And so I'm so proud that, we did have that connection. I was able to reach out to her again in February, and I asked her to be on the show. And of course she said yes. And I wouldn't know what to do if I was in her shoes, but I would fight as hard. Okay. I would fight as hard as she did. She is definitely going to be missed, and her show would be missed, but she definitely was a fighter. So to see that fight in her and to see that same fight in myself, I'll never forget that.
Wow, thank you for that. And my fondest memory, of course, was the video I showed in the beginning when I met her in person. And I mean, just as everybody mentioned, of beautiful soul she was, and the way she was just like that in person. I mean, yes, that's my fondest memory. And before we sign off, I'd like to play a special memorial video that Jared put together in recognition of Cy's advocacy in the kidney community. So I'm going to play that now. Oh, Jared, that was awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So, guys, I want to end this show. I got another show at 9:30, but I'd like to thank you, Jared, for coming on, Nashonda, Stephanie Mo Davis for this awesome show, and please, let's keep in touch.
Will do. Thank you.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you soon.
God bless.
All right. God bless. So, yes, thank you guys for tuning in tonight and celebrating Cy Speak, Sorrel George's life. We hope you were able to reflect on some of her moments. If you'd like to see any of her shows, you can go to Urban Health Outreach Media Facebook page under videos and just scroll all the way down until you see her videos. And there are some great treasures. And I'm glad we had the opportunity to archive these videos and have them to replay. And anyone knows her family, and if they would like access to these recordings, please have them reach out to us. Again, we would like to send our condolences to the family of Sorrel George and her friends, and we'll see her in the next life. God bless you, Sorrel. God bless everyone for watching. Stay safe, and please, let's advocate for each other and advocate for the kidney community. We need each other. God bless you, and have a great evening. And I will close out with the celebration of Sorrel's video. Peace and God bless.